gonna have to edit that out on the other. So those of you on behind the scenes heard it all, but not anybody. Shout out to you, JVJ, for letting me know that I forgot to bring my mic over. So we'll restart all of that. Have to cut that out of this stream if nothing else. We're just back with another stream. For those of you that'll be tuning in for the first time and maybe, you know, don't know how my streams work, they're a little bit different than maybe some other, you know, business people. I don't make you all pay or anything to ask questions, you know, super chats, things of that nature. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, you can literally drop them in the chat, regardless if you're watching behind the scenes or if you're watching, you know, we're doing screen share once again as well, because there's going to be some things that you may want to see. If you're watching behind the scenes, you may want to actually see the screen share. So if you're watching and we start talking about stuff that's on the screen, there should be a link in the description box, knock on wood. If not, you can just literally click my channel and it'll be the other stream. Pretty simple, right? But yeah, if you have any questions, for those of you behind the scenes, those of you on the screen share stream, always do not hesitate. Don't be shy. Drop a question. There's no such thing as a dumb question on here. You don't have to do super chats or anything like that. I saw that's pretty common apparently with YouTubers and TikTokers. They won't answer your question or respond to you or anything unless if you like pay them, where that's not what we do here. The whole thing is just to build a community of like-minded people just looking to grow our businesses. We have a lot of you who probably haven't even started your own business or anything like that. Same thing for you all, you know, just ask those questions away. We always tend to have a subject that we're talking about. Like I even have I always try to remember to draw up a quick little outline before going live of just different topics that I think can help you guys out. And then of course, you know, we pivot based on, you know, whatever questions you all may have. So whatever questions you have, like I said, drop them throughout. It doesn't have to be about the subject we're talking about. It can be about anything, business, finance, all that type of stuff. And for those of you that are watching the behind the scenes stream, let me know if that fan's bugging you. It's kind of bugging me even at the moment, so I might have to get up and shut that off for y'all at some point. Let's see. I see we got some people in the chat on both streams already. We got Jeff Hackworth on the behind the scenes stream. He said, how scary was it in the beginning? Honestly, what was more quote unquote scary was just the fact that, like, if I had to go back to another job, that sense of, you know, failing, right? That sense of if it doesn't work out, you know, I'm gonna look like a failure, this and that and the other. And that actually kind of, I don't want to say it held me back. If anything, you know, you guys know I talk a lot about putting chips on your shoulder and things of that nature. I just thought about, you know, man, I cannot let this fail, right? If this fails, then we're, you know, I don't like that, right? Pulling up our Google ads because that's what we'll be breaking down on the stream over here. But yeah, no, the main thing that I was like most worried about was just stuff that ultimately I could control. And I think to a degree, that's what, you know, was actually, you know, quote unquote scary, was, you know, you control it at the end of the day. We live in a society today where, you know, everyone's a victim. You know, everyone can't control this, you know, all we hear about is what we can't control. You know, oh, it's the government. Oh, it's Trump. Oh, it's Biden, this and that. Like, you know, if you feed into all this fear, negativity, this and that, you don't think you control anything at the end of the day. When in reality, most people that feed on this fear have never been outside of America. Like, they don't even know, like, what true oppression is, what true, you know, communism is. Like, we have capitalism. Everyone likes to say democracy. We don't have a democracy. We have a constitutional republic. Let's get that straight. But, like, you know, we are the most quote unquote free country where, like, you at least have opportunity. I'm not going to say we're the most free in terms of freedoms, but we're the most free in terms of opportunity to build a life that we want, right? So, you know, it's a mindset shift. I notice I stopped watching a lot of news. Don't get me wrong. Like, of course, you know, when I'm scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you know, you can't avoid it at the end of the day, right? It's in your face to a certain degree. You know, the moment you watch more than 5 seconds, the algorithm thinks you love it and it starts throwing it in your face, right? But you know, I don't really watch like any news anymore. I don't surround myself for the most part, as much as I can control it, people that are negative, right? Things of that nature. So, you know, that's the main thing is, and I think that's going to be the same for everybody, right? Those of you that have already started your own like pest control business or service business, whatever business you may own, you can probably attest to that. Like the things that you're most scared of in the beginning, are things that you find out like, I don't know why I was even scared of that. Like I control that at the end of the day. I control that outcome, you know. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Let's see. We got Majin Kali. He said, "Hey there, how's it going?" Jeff Hackworth also said, "How much money do you pay online for online ads? And what's your ROI?" That's something that, in terms of the true ROI, that's something I calculate usually once a quarter. I actually need to do that because we're in April now. So that's something that I have a video idea, I guess, for you guys. I can do like an update on like total ROI for Q1 of 24, or Q1 of 24, Q4 of 23. Honestly, it was not the best. I mean, we had quite a few, like 3 or 4 customer acquisitions, but then, you know, we started messing around too much with the campaign, which that's something I even talked about, I believe, on this recent video that I uploaded this week for you guys about Google ads and things of that nature. I forgot exactly what the whole point of that video was because it's already been 3 or 4 days, but I know for a fact one of the things that I brought up is when you're making tweaks, be careful not to make too many tweaks, right? You know, there's so many things. If you go and watch all these YouTubers, this and that, including myself, when it comes to like any advertising platform, Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever the case may be, you can mess around and tweak your ad to the point that, you know, even Google's like, what do you want, right? So I always say, like I said in that, you know, make a tweak here and there. If it's little tweaks, go ahead and make 2 or 3, but you know, if you're making a big shift, only do like one at a time, test it for a week or 2, things of that nature. But yeah, my downfall in terms of, you know, why Q4 running those ads in November, well, it was really the end of November, so December specifically, was it was definitely more learning. In all honesty, it was a lot of learning. We're finally to the point to where like we're actually not really spending much at all. Like yesterday we spent $25 on one click apparently, but we're really not. I mean, I can show you all of March and April, those of you who are watching on the screen share, and I'll tell you guys who are watching on the behind the scenes. So from March 1st to April 5th, we only spent $97.68 on Google ads. We had 163 total impressions. That I'm misspeaking. That is just for our spring, because I was like, wait a minute, where's all my activity? That is from technically March 14th. Yeah, because that was when we fired up our spring campaign. I'll go back and look at winter here in a second as well. But so from March 14th till now, we've only spent $97 and change, got a conversion, 5 total clicks, so we're paying what, just under $20 a click roughly. And yeah, 1 conversion so far. And the reason for that is because now we have almost kind of over optimized the ad, as crazy as that sounds. Again, I went over a lot of this in this week's video. It's like a, I think 15-minute, maybe 20-minute video, just kind of going in depth, giving you all some tips on Google ads that I had to really dig for to find. I didn't find a lot of videos on YouTube about it. So, you know, hopefully maybe again, like I try to with my channel, you know, fill a void that, you know, I see that, you know, no one's really talking about. So definitely watch that video if you haven't already. But we got to the point where we actually kind of over optimized this ad. Those of you who are watching the screen share can actually see this yellow line, impressions. There were literally days like in the middle of the week, Wednesday, 1 impression, Thursday, 0 impressions, Friday, 1 impression, Saturday, 2 impressions. Like we had actually kind of over optimized this ad. And again, I went into super far depth already on this, so I'm not gonna like rehash it all. But if you're watching the screen share right now, you can see we made some tweaks, and now we are, I mean, our impressions, they could still be higher. Like, I don't like that on Wednesday we only got 8 impressions, but if you look back at the previous month, 8 to 10 impressions was almost the high. I think the high was like 15 or 16 impressions when we like first launched this campaign. Where now, like, the moment I made an edit, we went from 2 impressions up to bam 23. This last Monday, 18, and then, like I said, dropped a little on Wednesday to 8, but then back up to 12 and 14. Like, it's heading in a positive direction at least. So again, when you're not hiring this stuff out and you've never done this before, you got to take into consideration there's going to be a learning curve. I probably could have already been quote unquote mastered this curve by now if I didn't, just toy around with Google Ads. If you all go back all through my channel, we have a Google Ads series, right? Like a playlist, and I have experimented with Google Ads and ran some, got some customers, this and that, but I've never really dived in like I have the last 4 to 5 months, coming up on 6 almost, the last 4 to 5 months that we've been doing it. And like I said, I mean, we're to the point now where, just to again give you perspective too, we spent under $100, right? But our ad budget for this ad group alone is $200, or no, this campaign that is $200 per day. So the fact that we have it set at $200 a day, and for pretty much a month we've only spent $100, that tells me that, like, we probably had this a little too optimized. One of the main things is we actually had our locations that we were targeting a little bit too constricted. Probably not bidding enough as well on some certain keywords and things of that nature. So like I said, it's constant tweaking. You always have to be, looking into stuff, and that's what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, so far, like I said, I mean, the last month, we spent under $98. We got a conversion out of it, with a 20% conversion rate. We had 5 total clicks over the last month, on this campaign, specifically on Google Ads, and it got 1 conversion. So I mean, that's a 20% conversion rate so far, and I'm interested to see kind of how it unfolds as we continue to make tweaks to it, because like I said, we kind of overdid it. Now we're going to kind of start, now that we've like over optimized it, over constricted the locations, this and that and the other, now we're starting to kind of, okay, we did this, we got to super optimize this and that and the other. Google saying our landing page experience is average to above average. Like, everything looks good now, right? So now and we're even getting conversions, like when we do get enough impressions and clicks, right? So now it's a matter of, okay, let's start opening this up a little bit. Let's start targeting some more locations. Let's start targeting maybe a couple more keywords, bidding a little higher, things of that nature. I'll keep you guys updated. And then again, we'll go and take a look at the winter campaign real quick for those of you who are watching the screen share. Let's see, spring ads. Where's my winter ad at? Let's see, ant control. I need to delete a bunch of these. A bunch of these are from, man, God knows when. There it is, winter ads, all the way at the bottom. So let's see. Let's pull up actual clicks. Pull up, and I will say, with this winter ad one, our conversion tracking wasn't working hardly at all. You can see in March we finally got it to work, like early March. But even with that being said, we still had a 10% conversion rate. So we ran this from obviously March 1st through March 8th. Apparently we took like a week off. Maybe I might have took like a week off when creating the spring campaign. I think that did happen. Yeah, we took a week where we focused on getting the spring campaign up and launched. That's right, because I had to create new landing pages, things of that nature. That's right. We took a week off doing all of that stuff, right? But we ran this for pretty much a whole week, and in that week we had 10 clicks, 1 conversion, average cost per click $16 and change, total cost $162. So over the last month, essentially month and change, we've had 15 clicks, 2 conversions, total cost of about $250, something like that. So our cost per conversion going from that side of things is a little high for my liking. However, you know, the spring campaign so far, like we said, it seems to be doing pretty good. I mean, well, we'll see kind of what happens. What just changed? Spring. I don't know. Either way. So yeah, long answer, I know, but hopefully that helps. Man, we got a lot of y'all in the two chats this morning. Let's see. Let me pull one from our chat for our people that are watching the screen share. Tropical Fruit Loop says, I prefer residential, but I think commercial is more profitable. No, it is not. It is definitely not more profitable. Tropical Fruit Loops, especially when you're getting into like apartment buildings and things like that, there's virtually no money in the apartment game. However, I don't mind for the most part restaurants and things of that nature, restaurants, gyms, as long as they're willing to pay us, right? If they're not willing to pay, then, you know, it's not a big deal. We tell them, you know, hey, whenever you want the best company, give us a call, right? But it's definitely not more profitable. It will add to your top line, add to your evaluation. That's why a lot of companies will literally bid each other to death in terms of undercutting one another, because just the sheer volume in terms of, you know, we're adding to our top line. I mean, say you land an apartment complex that's, we'll just list off a random number. Not that this is accurate or anything, but let's just say you bid it at $25,000 a year. You know, that's $25,000 a year that you're adding to your top line revenue. So, you know, that's kind of more so for, in my opinion, once you're kind of larger, you've got employees, this and that and the other. When you're first getting started, like I said, I would stick more to, again, from my experience, I have multiple gyms, I have a lot of restaurants. Trying to think. When I do apartments, it's mostly for individuals, as a matter of fact, where the company that's coming out sucks, right? Because why? They underbid these jobs, they're on a time constraint, they're overworking their guys, you know, and then you have to come in to actually solve the problem. Pretty crazy, but yeah, that's my 2 cents. JVJ says sales tax permit finally came in. Next is getting insurance suggestion is great. Then applying for business license. Awesome. Yeah, we use, like I said, in a previous stream, we use Lipka for our business insurance because they're like specifically designed for like pest control companies. And usually your first year or two, they're not really gonna, I've been with them now, this is what, year 3, I believe. And I'm only paying, which for really good coverage, I'm only paying, if I recall, like $900, roughly $800 to $900 for the year. How's it going, Bino 62? Said Kit's here. I'm thinking about relocating to further north where housing is cheaper. What would be your suggestion in regards to marketing? I was thinking about adding that area to my website. Yeah, definitely add it to your website without a doubt, right? Whenever we're expanding our service area, which I'm about to go through as well, because I'm moving closer to a suburb of Dallas called Greenville, which is, you know, has some population to it. And normally I would never service that area because it's about 50 minutes to the east of where I live. However, I'm moving out east about 25 to 35 minutes. So they're going to now be within like 10 to 15 minutes of me. So I would be dumb to not target them now, right? So what I'm going to be doing over the coming weeks is doing the same thing, Kits, which is creating web pages for those service areas. Another thing you can do, if specifically these are new developments, is doing, what's it called, EDM marketing. I haven't yet, but I am really thinking about in either May or June running an EDM campaign for some new developments, seeing what happens, right? It definitely takes a little bit of money, but you know, all it takes in most cases is a couple customers to get out of that, and you know, it's worth it, right? So there's a couple things you can do, and then of course just old-fashioned door-to-door. Worst case scenario, Google ads, Facebook ads. Again, Facebook ads, that's going to be more so kind of brand awareness, at least from my experience with pest control ads on Facebook. Again, we've run a couple $1,000s now worth of Facebook ads, and it seems like nothing more than brand awareness from our experience. Let's see. We got all those answered. Let me see. How's it going, Karate Chick? Going over here to the behind the scenes chat. Majin. Let's see. It's pronounced Majin. I do like to try to get people's names right. Let me see. It's Majin Cali, but I do have a question. It's quite long. I want to start my company while working in my current pest control company. I'd like to file for an LLC, get an EIN, get the business bank account going, but I don't want to start till next year. Do I have to attach my license to my company right away, or can I get my ducks in a row? In Texas, from what I recall, your pest control license, like you, the individual, can only be attached to one company at a time. Like you can't, at least from my understanding, like I always say about anything licensing and all that related, always check with your Department of Agriculture first. Just literally call them up, let them know they don't have a horse in the race. They're not going to route you out to your employer, right? So do what you got to do, but like I said, from what I understand, at least here in Texas, like you have to be, your licensing is like dedicated to one employer, one business, things of that nature, including yourself. If you're going into business for yourself, I personally, like, I get what you mean. Like, you want to be like prepared that way whenever you go ahead and say quit, lose your job, whatever the case may be, you want to hit the ground running, right? But don't get it twisted. Like it's not a hard process. To put in perspective, I lost my job before even being certified, right? I had 4 days to study my ass off for these tests, passed it literally on Halloween of 2020, and then by the end of by the middle, as a matter of fact, of the following week, I had all that stuff in place. So, um, that's not something that you necessarily need to worry about per se. I would, I definitely, like I said, I understand being, you want to have all, like you said, have everything in order. But like I said, if you want to go that route, just call up the Department of Agriculture, let them know kind of what you're thinking. You're like, hey, I want to do this, but like I'm not even trying to like start yet, but I want to have all this set up so when I'm ready, I can just go. Can I even do that first and foremost? And if not, then obviously you can't. If so, then you can move forward, right? Hopefully that kind of answers the question. Um yeah, I don't know what stock doc even said, whatever that means. Let's see, we got any chat so far? Yeah, no, looks like we're all caught up on questions, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, looks like we're all caught up. If any other questions, I see we got a total about 8 to 10 of y'all tuning in so far. If you have any questions, regardless which stream you're watching, just throw it in the chat. Like I said, otherwise we'll just kind of hop right in. Again, if you're new to me and new to the streams are more Q&A based. So if you have any questions about starting up your business, growing your business, whatever the case may be, just drop it in the chat. If you don't know who I am, of course, it's your first time tuning in behind the scenes or, wherever you're watching the stream. Of course, my name is Griffin Thomas. I own my own pest control company, specifically in the Dallas, Texas area, Preferred Pest Management. We've been in business for about 4 years now. And on my channel overall, I just kind of document my overall business journey. Tell you guys things that have worked for us, things that don't work, where we burn money, where we've made a lot of money. And yeah, we took that company, I say we, it was me, took that company from 0 to 6 figures my first year in business. And, we've just been kind of chugging along ever since. We're hoping to hit 7 figures ideally by the end of 2025 in terms of recurring, but we'll see what happens, right? Got a long way to go, got a lot of stuff to learn, and like I said, the whole point of my channel is more so just to teach you guys things that I like. Everything that I learn, I'm like, man, if I knew this day one, if I knew this before I started, like I'd be just light years ahead. I would have went to 0 to 6 figures in like 3 months instead of a year, right? So if we can speed that process up for you guys, then that's awesome at the end of the day. I love hearing your all stories as well. We've got a bunch of you who've been watching the channel for over a year or two now, and I'm starting to hear a bunch of your all success stories, and it's just cool to see. And by the way, whenever you start getting successful, do what I do. Post it. Like, that's what YouTube and all this is for. It's for all of us to share information with each other. I don't think social media, YouTube, all this stuff was designed for BS at the end of the day. I don't think it was I mean, it may have been. We could go down a whole rabbit hole with that, but I don't think it was designed to speeding up the what's the word, to like degrade our society like it has. I think it was originally designed to, for everyone to collaborate with each other, share ideas, and just grow much quicker. Let's see. How much did you do first calendar year? First calendar year was like literally right at $100,000. That's why I just say, our first year. I don't even count that like first month that I was like quote unquote in business, because we were, getting everything set up, doing our pictures and this and that, getting trucks labeled, all that stuff. I don't really factor it in. I do, but I don't, because it's such a minor amount. I made like probably less than $2,000, in that November, December of 2020. And then, the first year we made just like literally right at like $100,000 that first year. So it was, when I say six figures, we just crossed it essentially, Jack. But yeah. And that, like I said, that's gross sales too. That's not like net profit or anything like that. That's just in terms of sales our first year. So, yeah, speaking of which, because just calendar got me thinking of one of our topics that we're going to be breaking down today. Those of you who are watching the screen share are going to get a good look at this. And I'll obviously explain to those of you watching behind the scenes. How's it going, brother Daniel? Best strategy for getting customers door to door. I mean, door to door is one of those things that it depends on your area, depends on where you're knocking, all this type of stuff. From what I understand, a lot of times where you think is going to be the best neighborhood to knock ends up being the worst. Where you think is the worst is going to be the best. Yada, yada, yada. Just like any type of marketing, right? You might think, oh, Facebook ads are going to be awesome. Then it sucks. And then you think Google ads is expensive. There's no way it's going to work for me. And then boom, Facebook ads blows the doors off of all other advertising platforms for you. So if you're starting out from scratch, you got very little money, things of that nature, door to door is a great option. I personally have never done, the closest to door to door I've done is just hanging door tags. Just because I don't like door to door. Now, if my back's against the wall and I had no choice but to do door to door, would I have done it? Of course, because you do anything to survive another day, grow your business, right? I hear a lot of people to this day, even in other like pest control business groups, where people will do door to door, or they hire door to door sales team, things of that nature, and it works out great for them. That is something that later on down the road, when we have more money coming in, that we may do. We may hire out like an actual door to door sales team, or we may train in house like a sales force, and send them out in the spring and summer to do door to door sales. It's hard to say, but yeah, hopefully that helps. Let's see. I've been following for a while now. I just passed the license test. Awesome. Working on getting an LLC now. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, keep us updated on everything. Like I just said a minute ago, I love like hearing your all's journeys. It's awesome to hear. Let's see. Tropical Fruit Loops in our other chat actually said, I do door to door. I do well. It's a mixed bag of, there is a big learning curve. The roof specialists on YouTube is great for door to door. So that might be another channel too. If you are looking at doing like a door to door route, you guys may want to check that channel out as well. Let me see. Let me get a quick drink real quick, and we're going to break down this quick topic about the importance of routing. So I was literally just thinking about this yesterday. Those of you who are watching the stream while we're sharing the screen, I got my GorillaDesk CRM pulled up right now. And you guys can probably see the one, wow, we have a wide service area, right? So just to give you all some perspective, this is the furthest stop east this month, right? And this is the furthest stop west, which is a monthly account every month. Google local service customer that we just make just enough to make it worth it. As you can see, we always plan it whenever like we're already heading out west. Even the distance from this point to this point is over half an hour. Like it's a solid drive. But where I'm going with this is the importance of having a good CRM for routing purposes is like second to none. Of course, you can do the old school method of getting out a map, putting pinpoints, like, you know, one of those old school blown up maps that you like put on the wall, right? You can do that. You can definitely do that. Put pins for every customer, this and that and the other. Why? Why though? Why would you waste all that time, effort, energy, and money still, because you still have to buy that stuff, when you can literally have a CRM that you can literally do all this for within minutes? Like, I spent probably about 10 minutes last night routing next week's work. That's where you see all these color codes like bunches. This is where like I'm, you know, routing my stops for the day. And not for the whole month, but for the next week. And if I did not have a good CRM in place, this would be miserable. Oh, there is our camera. Ooh, there. Technical issue here. What we got? Are we good now? Hopefully that's better. Yeah. Back to my point with the CRM. And if you all are watching right now and you don't know this platform, this is GorillaDesk. We've been using GorillaDesk pretty much since we opened our business. And, you know, I've been a huge advocate of them, you know, since we started our business, or since I started posting content about our business, that is, over the last 2 years or so. If you want to try them out, by the way, they did finally like hook us up with like a good little coupon or whatever you want to call it. Like a referral link for you guys. It should be in the links of both description boxes, specifically in my LinkTree. It'll just say like try GorillaDesk free or something like that. They're giving you guys, with that affiliate link or whatever you want to call it, they're giving you 14 days of that pro version. You know, it's like $100 a month usually, for free for 2 weeks, no strings attached, anything like that whatsoever. And again, that's the pro version as well. And I always like to mention that I'm an affiliate just because, you know, just being transparent with you guys. But at the same time, you guys that have been watching for a while know that I don't like sell you guys any BS that like I don't use, right? Like, I talk about GorillaDesk all the time. We've been using them for, gosh, 3.5 years now. And they haven't upped the price ever. They continue to add more and more features. And that's a good combination for me. Like, I love when a software or a service that I'm paying for doesn't go up in price, but they keep adding features to it. What's there not to like about that? And then also, whenever I was comparing, because, you know, I didn't just dive right into GorillaDesk, right? I actually started out my first few weeks using just Square appointments, right? Because we had a Square website. We were using Square as our credit card processor, and it just worked out to use Square appointments originally, right? Like their calendar. It was awful to do though. So I looked at other ones like BryoStack, Field Routes, things of that nature. And while some of them may be slightly more advanced at this moment, one, they weren't whenever I was looking at them, and two, they've always been astronomically more expensive. We're talking 2, 3, 4x, depending on which one you're looking at and which package you end up getting. Where, like I said, GorillaDesk, again, you can get it as low, once your little trial period is up, right? For as low as like $49 a month for the cheaper version, which I wouldn't suggest using. It's just too limited, in my opinion. Or, you know, the $99 a month one, you know, again, this is just from my experience, my opinion. And even if, like I said, you don't use GorillaDesk, use something else. The main thing is making sure that you are able to pull up not just a calendar of your customers, but a map to where you can literally move the jobs around very easily. Like I said, I sat down for less than 20 minutes last night before shooting a quick little short for you guys, reminding you guys about the stream. I took less than 20 minutes to literally map out my next week in terms of our stops for our route. So it's definitely something where, like I said, even if you guys don't want to use GorillaDesk, which whatever, like I said, I mean, the affiliate link, I'm making, virtually nothing on it. It's just to give you guys 2 weeks of it for free more than anything, which I thought was pretty cool of them to do. Because they seen our content, reached out to us about it. But if nothing else, try out another platform, whatever the case may be. Again, just the main thing is dive in, see how important routing is, because routing, it doesn't just save you time, right? You're not just saving time, you're saving employee costs, once you hire employees. Why? Because when you're not routing, when your routes aren't optimized, you're paying your employees more, if you're paying per hour, that is. So your employee costs are going up. Risk is going up because your employees are driving more. The more the employees drive, obviously, the higher risk of wrecks and injuries and things of that nature, being sued, right? Workers' comp, this and, just nightmares, right? Risk goes up. Wear and tear on vehicles go up. Gas goes up. Just everything. The little amount that you think you're saving by not using a software is by far being blown out of the water by everything that we just mentioned, right? So, like I said, if nothing else, give any of these softwares a try. See which one you like. If you, like I said, if you all want to try GorillaDesk, they're giving it to you for 2 weeks free in our LinkTree down below. Like I said, I've been using them for over 3 years specifically. I love that they're not price gouging us. They haven't raised the price one time. And they seem to be adding features literally every single month, it seems. And you guys that have been watching the channel know for a while, I've been saying that over and over. Like, they added this feature. They're always adding features, this and that and the other. And they usually, any big change, like any new update, if you're watching on the screen share, they usually make sure to highlight it for you. They'll send like little training videos immediately. Again, just overall, for the most part, great customer support, always innovating their apps and this and that, and just, yeah. Let's see if we have any questions. Cody Thomas said, I got GorillaDesk because of your content. Use your name as the referral. Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I appreciate that big time. Like I said, I mean, I'm not even really making a whole heck of a lot or anything off of it. To be upfront, I've only made what I actually just got an email about it the other day. I've made like $19.80 since they gave me the affiliate code. Like, just to put in perspective, like how little of a deal like that is. Like, it's more so just to give you guys that pro version for free for 2 weeks. I thought it was pretty cool of them. And if they give me some little nickels and dimes here and there for it, then it's like, oh, I mean, I'll take it, right? Like, I'll take it. I'm already talking about it anyways. Like, I'll take it. But no, that's who we use. And I was just thinking about that, like I said, literally last night. I wanted that to be a topic because I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, man, imagine if I was doing this like old school, like, I have a wall right here, like a big old just map. And I had a boss for a company that I worked for before I went to Terminex briefly, who he literally had a big map up like that with the zip codes all drawn out and this and that. And I was just like, dude, this ain't it, right? So yeah, and then when I went over to Terminex and seen the softwares they were using, while they weren't perfect, they were definitely a huge upgrade. I was like, yeah, this is something this is what I want. And then when I looked at GorillaDesk, I was like, this seems very similar, if not better in some cases, than the software I was using at Terminex. So, that's what I would do. Routing is, like we said, so important. I might even, as a matter of fact, try to do some research for you guys before like our next stream, maybe, or maybe I'll do like an update, like an actual video about the importance of routing, and do some research on like how much having routing set up saves you, or maybe even the opposite, like how much money companies waste by not having proper routing in place. Because, like we said, I mean, risk goes through the roof because your employees are driving more. We won't rehash out the whole list. We just listed it out kind of one by one. But, overall, it's going to save your business time and lots of money, which obviously correlate. So, yeah, let's see if we have any questions real quick. Nothing so far. Yeah, we'll go ahead and head into this next topic. Let's see, there was a couple others I wanted to talk about real quick. Oh yeah, we kind of already broke down our Google Ads update overall, but we'll hit on that again real quick for anyone that's just now tuning in. Google Ads update for the last like week or so. I guess we can just do like last 7 days. Last 7 days, there really hasn't been a whole heck of a lot going on. We're only running our GPC ad group, of course. We made some pretty big updates this last week specifically, which has definitely raised our impressions up. And we're finally starting to actually get some clicks, because there for a minute, like I mentioned earlier, our ad was actually limited because we went from targeting a whole lot of locations down to targeting like probably 5 to 6 zip codes total, which, if you know anything about the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 5 or 6 zip codes really is not a lot. I mean, this area has, I don't even know how many zip codes. I'd say like 100, it feels like. So to be targeting only like 6 zip codes, we were really narrowing down this ad in terms of targeting and this and that. We've opened that up a little bit. I think we're now targeting something like twice as much, something like 10 to 15 zip codes maybe. So that, along with adding some more keywords, upping our cost per click. I'll give you guys a look for those of you that are watching on the screen share stream here on YouTube. Let's see. Let's go to audience and keywords, search keywords. Take a look here if this will load. There we go. Take that off. Take that off. Okay, here we go. Let's see. So as you can see now, we did raise some of our CPCs. Pest control near me, we've raised that up to $32 max CPC. However, you can see that they only have charged us $25. And our impression share is pretty damn good. I mean, didn't mean to scroll down. Our impression share is at almost 60% over the last week. CTR is a little low. I do find that interesting. I may need to mess around with my headlines a little bit, to either headlines or descriptions, something of that nature, to get people that are searching for like pest control near me related terms to want to click on that a little bit more. So I would definitely like that CTR to be at least doubled, ideally. We aim for a minimum 5 to 10% CTR, ideally. And then obviously from there, a conversion rate of 10 to 20% is ideal. But with one click, obviously, there's not enough data over the last week to be able to tell. We do have this search term here. How much does an exterminator cost? Which I'm debating going ahead and removing that, because it is generating some traffic for us, some cheap traffic too. Around $10 a click is what we've paid ever since, I could go back 2 or 3 weeks, and that's about all that we've paid for this search term. However, as far as I know, it has not resulted in a single conversion. So it's one of those things where it's like, at some point, you just because it's a cheap keyword doesn't mean it's a keyword that necessarily you should pursue, right? Test it out. If after 10, 20, 50 clicks, you haven't gotten anything from it, probably time to move on, right? So we do have that. And then let's see, the search term pest control, we raised that from like $25 to $30. Why? As you can see, estimated first position bid right now, $42. Stupid. Estimated top of page, meaning like those top 2 listings, $39. But looky there, our impression share is still pretty high, 48.5%. If we're getting close to 50% of impression share, that's pretty good. That means for every 100 people searching for pest control, pest control search term, we are showing up 48 to 49 times. Like, that's pretty good, especially when we're bidding, $9 to $13 under the top of position bid. So, you know, we had 17 impressions, no clicks last week. In all honesty, I'm gonna raise that one too. I'm gonna raise it right now from 30 to 32. That's what we're gonna do. I don't like having to pay this much for clicks, but we're in the busy season, and with busy season comes all the advertisers, right? And what does that do? Supply and demand, right? Whenever there's very little advertising money going around, obviously CPCs drop. That's why in fall and winter months, pest control terms are in my area, which is a very, very competitive area in the Dallas, Texas area. Pest control related terms will drop like 50% during those months. But now we're getting to the point where those of you who are watching the screen share can probably see, I believe. Let me scroll over to the right a little bit so you guys can see this. Because I think the chat might be blocking you a little bit, so I'm gonna scroll right. You know, look at some of these estimated first position bids and estimated top of page. They're all practically $40 on up. You got a couple in the 30s. Again, that cheap one around $10, but most of them are considerably high. So, you know, if you want to get impressions and want to get clicks, you got to pay. It's pay to play at the end of the day. Let's see. How's it going, Rob Williams? He said, you may have covered this, but did you build your own website? And if not, what company did you use? And if you did build your own, what service did you use to build the site? So, everything you see on my site today, it's all me. Like, I mean, technically GorillaDesk, because they have a service where they'll build websites and things like that for you. Only issue is they're really cookie cutter. They all look the same regardless of the company. Because like me and my cousin both use them, and the only difference was really like our logos and color scheme, things of that nature. Um, they kind of helped us get it going. Everything you see on my website today, it's all me. I've done a lot of back end coding on it, like additional CSS, things of that nature. I've like all the pages I've built that are on there at this point. Everything that's on there today, I did it all. So, a couple things that I can actually pull it up because I think yeah you're watching the screen share, so I can show you guys. Like this is a plugin we used right here, where you know, people can see our reviews, like if you in real time too. So like say we look at our website here. This is the plugin that we just got recently where it's free and you connect it to your Google account and it will actually literally show, like, as you can see, these reviews are very recent. Now you do need to go in there and like actually like update it occasionally. It'll like say download new reviews, something of that nature. See where it says like my reviews and then new. That lets you know, of course, that there's more reviews and that you can like, you know, download them, which let's see, the manual review download will be available again in 2 days. Yeah, see, there's plenty that aren't even showing up right now because apparently in 2 days I'll be able to download the newest ones. But from there, you can literally just plug this right in here, and you know you'll see. To me, it seems a lot more legit than what we had in the past, where what we were doing was literally kind of essentially copying and pasting the review in there. Where this, like you literally, like you guys seen, I mean, this shows their actual Google like profile, picture, and everything. Like, you can tell these are legit reviews. So it just builds, you know, more, what's the word I'm looking for? Trust, I guess, in terms of that, you know, are these actually reviews or are these fake? But yeah, no, everything you see here, like I did all this. I actually just added this in last week, or the week before maybe. Everything you see on my website, like it's all me. Like I said, I've done all of it at this point. We use WordPress for that. If I dive in here to the back end of WordPress, this is kind of what your WordPress will look like without all these plugins. All these things you see here, these are just called plugins, and you just add them by searching for things that you want on your website. Elementor is usually what you're going to use. I'm just giving you like a 90-second pitch on like how to build your own website essentially. Elementor is what you're going to use to really build the website, so to speak, every little aspect of it. Or, you know, you can just do the traditional, I think it's called Gutenberg. That's what we use for the most part because that's what GorillaDesk used when they originally like built the site. I've thought about just completely overhauling it with Elementor, but it seems like it's something that would take a long time. I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. I mean, when I say mess with it, like I'm not gonna overhaul my website anymore until I can afford to just straight up just shove money to an SEO company, website building company, things of that nature. You know, you're talking probably a $3,000 a month expense later on down the road, probably that, you know, they can optimize it, get it right, get it on page one for all of our pages. Let's see. What were we talking about though? Oh yeah, going back to the Google Ads here. Um, let's see. Was there anything else that I needed to do on this end? I don't know why for pest control service we're not getting impressions. That's kind of weird. We are getting some impressions. Let's see. Impression share 66%. Pest control Plano only about 28%. Pest control Rockwall we're now up to 55%. Roy City 40%. Can't believe they're raising these costs per clicks like this. I remember when Roy City it was like $14. Now the average is 37. Like my God. We're gonna raise ours to 25. And that's the other thing. Whenever you have your ad structure properly, your landing page experience is good, this and that, Google's gonna reward the advertisers that are doing what Google wants with lower costs than companies that are just, you know, doing what they want to do, right? So definitely, you know, pay attention to the things that Google. Now, don't go all in. Don't do like the auto, you know, let Google run your ad, right? But definitely gear your ad to what Google wants to a degree. And you'll notice that less than 10%. You'll notice that Google's going to be very, very rewarding for that type of stuff. We got 100% of pest control Murphy. So apparently only one person this last week searched for that. That is interesting. We're going to leave that alone though, because we're kind of right in the middle of that top of page. Let's see. 0. Pest control Plano. We're going to leave that alone. Nothing there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead. Like I said, I'm gonna pause this. I'm pausing that cheap um, term. It was the how much does an exterminator cost? Just because, like I said, I mean, it's getting clicks, but you know, why spend the money if it's not converting? Like, let's just go back to the last 30 days for that search term. It's gotten what, 2 clicks? You know, we just hasn't done anything. And plus, there's really not a lot of search volume behind it. So I don't want Google, you know, giving a bunch of impressions to this if it's just not gonna produce. I want high, you know, intent. I want people that are like looking for service like right now, not people that are, you know, just wondering, oh, like how much does it cost, right? So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take that off. So right now we have how many search active? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got like 12 search terms active at the moment. Our average impression share, and this is another thing you can do too when it comes to checking to see if you're paying enough, is go to auction insights under insights and reports. Now I don't want to see the last month. I always check this out like every week, so I'll look at like the last 7 days. So overall for this ad group, our impression share is 51%. We're literally right up there with Terminex in terms of impression share. So that's pretty good. Our overlap rate, that tells me that, we are the terms that we're bidding on are very, very, very similar. Their overlap means like how often our ads are showing together. That means, when you type in pest control near me, things of that nature, and there's those top two results, that means, it's going like Terminex, preferred pest management, or maybe preferred pest management and then Terminex. And the position above rate, that means, when we're talking about who's above who, they are above us 67% of the time. And they're at the top of the page 78% of the time. That tells me they are the ones when we're looking at where it says like $50 per click, things of that nature. They're the ones that are, surprise, surprise, pushing that rate up. Same thing with Orkin here. Sure, Orkin's only getting 15% of impression share, but they're at the very top of the page, or this is just top of page. So top two, 82% of the time, for Terminex 78% of the time, and then the absolute top of the page, Terminex is at 54%, Orkin's at 50%, we are at 25%. Which, when we actually look at this, I don't know what the hell Go USA Pest Control is, but when we look at this in terms of percentage, like, we're not doing bad. I mean, we're ahead of Active, who's only at 7.7%. We're ahead of Barrett, which you all probably don't know Barrett, but they're a pretty big company down here, big local company. They're only at 12.5%. Let's see. Who else are we above? I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, I mean, like, we are ahead of a lot of our competitors. Let's see, outranking share. The outranking share, that means like how often you guys are showing up in the same search query, but they are outranking you. At least I believe. Let me double check. Is how often your ad is ranked. Is how often your ad is ranked higher. Okay, so no. I had it flipped. It's how often your ad is outranking their ad in that query, not the other way. So we are outranking Orkin 47% of the time, Terminex 36% of the time, Allsafe, which is another big company, 43% of the time, whatever the hell pestservices.net is, 50% of the time, Active 50%, Barrett 50%. So we're all really going at it, is what I'm getting at. Whenever you look at all these percentages, we are all like going to war right now in terms of like who is getting the impression share, who's getting the clicks. The main thing is impression share. The ones who are going to win impression share are the ones that are going to get the clicks, because obviously, when you're at 10% or less, like most of these companies are on this list, who's above 10%? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. 5 out of what, like 11? 1, 2, 3, 4. Or no, 5 out of 10. I'm not even going to count Go USA Pest Control because they're right at 10%. So literally less than half are ranking above 10%. And or impression share, that is, at 10%, where only us and Terminex right now are at 51. That's crazy that we're both at 51.06 too. Like down to the exact decimal, we're at the same in terms of impression share. And we're getting more impression share than Orkin even. We're at 15.6%. And again, this is just the last week because I like to look at that data week to week because stuff changes so fast, especially during busy season, that you really want to stay on top of that. Let's see. Shepherd of Death. How's it going? How many trucks route? I'm still on my main route right now. I'm just literally growing this route until I cannot do it by myself anymore, which we're getting very close to that. We're at that point where, like, one, my wife is having to help me. Like, she answered probably, my God, at least 6 phone calls this week at the minimum, maybe even more. She may have answered a dozen. I have no idea. She answered quite a bit though. Like it's to the point where like I'm not even able to really answer the phone because like I'm always in a customer's house or in a business or on the road, right? Like I'm not able to answer. So we're already to a point to where um I really probably should be already putting someone in this route, but like I said, the goal is to get to where each recurring, in terms of recurring income, that is, each recurring route is at least 15 to 20,000 a month every single month before any new sales. Not just, oh, we're doing like 15, 20,000 a month, because we're pretty much already there, but in terms of recurring, we still got a little bit to go. Once the recurring income every single month is north of 15,000, not like 25,000 one month, 12,000 the next, 16,000, then 10, right? I'm saying every single month. Once every single month is above 15 on the recurring, then that will be when I have no choice but to go ahead and hire. Plus, it would just be dumb for me to not hire at that point because I am more valuable out of the field for the business. I'm more valuable when I'm here answering phones, selling, than I am being the technician, if that makes sense. So, like I said, we're there. You guys know, even I had a technician last year, and we had the 1099 guy doing exclusion work and things like that for us too. Um, but for a short period of time, I was like, look, I'm not hiring anybody else. I'm going all in. And with the help of my wife, shout out to her for helping and stuff. She's actually pretty good at selling too, by the way. She took someone that wanted just a one-time service and sold them on the recurring. So a little bit of tapped, little resource there. But oh, or tap potential, that is. My whole point is like I'm sacrificing a lot of my time. You guys probably have even noticed like I'm not uploading as much content lately. I mean, I'm still uploading it when I can for you guys, but there for a minute I was uploading content like daily for you guys, where now I've really pulled back. I'm uploading like maybe one long form video and then maybe a short here and there. And then of course we do our live streams like once a week for an hour or so. But I've really been just going all in. And like I said, in terms of, um, running this route until it is, like I said, north of that number. Because I want to be able to pay somebody good too. That's the other thing. Could I hire somebody right now at $10 to $15 an hour and be fine with no benefits, all that stuff? Yeah, I easily could right now. Am I going to do that? No. Why? Like, why wouldn't I do that? Just because to me, at the end of the day, whenever I start hiring, like, to me, it's much easier to build the company on a firm foundation with values, principles, all this stuff, and then to try to backpedal after the fact, if that makes sense. Because, if I talk a big game about like, oh, I want to be able to pay my employees good, or at least, the best that we can in this industry, right? Obviously, you're not going to make $200,000 as a technician, right? Like, no, just can't. Like, it wouldn't. There's just no way, right? But at the same time, like, I can't talk a big game about like I want to take care of my employees, and then the very moment that I'm able to hire them for chump change, $10 to $15 an hour, right? Could I? Yes. Am I going to though? No. I would rather sacrifice my time, my body, my growth, even because, like I said, it's capping us to a degree in terms of um, quantity of stops we can do, quantity of leads we're able to take in, all of this type of stuff when I'm out in the field like I am. So, like I said, we're getting very, very close, but as of now, it is still back to being just me. How's it going, Bryson? Let's see. My business has officially been in business for 5 days. What's up with it? I've gotten 13 sales from door to door and family and friends signing up. That's awesome. 8,400 in sales too. Cool, cool. We like to do bi-monthlies and bill monthly. when you do treatments, do you ever wear a face mask to help with inhaling chemicals that might get in your face? Whenever I was doing mosquito treatments specifically, with like a tomahawk blower or still blower, I would wear, the respirator deal, whatever you want to call it. I would wear that. For the most part, though, in terms of doing general pests, no. If you want, I would say an N95 mask would be good enough. And even then, like if it's that windy where like it's like blowing up in your face and things like that, then one, we're not even legally supposed to be treating. But I do get the point too, though, of like even if it's not windy, like obviously there's those particles are very small, like you're still inhaling it. Um, I will. That's another thing. Going back to employees, I'll always have that stuff available. Where like I'll tell them straight up, like, hey, you should probably wear this. You're inhaling the stuff at the end of the day, but I'm gonna leave it up to the employee too. But I'm gonna have that stuff available because at my previous employers, you had to pretty much buy your own if you wanted that, which I thought was kind of BS. But um, yeah, no, I don't. I talk about it a lot with people that I'm on the phone with, old coworkers and stuff. How I'm like, man, we should probably be wearing masks whenever we're doing this stuff, right? But it's just one of those things where it's more of a it's more up to you, like your personal preference, I guess. If it's windier, one thing I do have, speaking of wind, is I have a face shield. It's like a tinted face shield too. On top of that, and what I'll do is if I can tell, like maybe it's not windy, but there's gusts, right? Like it's not windy one moment, and then super windy the next. I'll wear a face shield just that way. If nothing else, I'm protecting my skin too. Because when you're using these microencapsulated chemicals, whoo, buddy, do they burn. Jeff said, "What's your monthly pesticide cost?" It depends, man. Like that can vary so much. Like on a average low volume, like we're not getting a bunch of Trelona bait station installs, this and that. Low maintenance standard month, which I don't like, by the way. Like I'd prefer to have to be buying more. The more we're buying, the more we're selling, right? But on an average month where we're not having to buy a bunch of Trelona and big cost items, um, our chemical costs right now are in the hundreds. I mean, you're talking two to four hundreds, maybe $500 a month. Where on really really busy months, I've spent $2,000 in a month before. So if I were to put an average on it, I would say 300. Which again, I know it's gonna sound like a wide range, but if I were to put an average on it, I would say like $300 to $1,500 a month. Again, just if I'm putting an average on it, that is what I spend. Lately, I've only been spending, you know, 300 to 500, I would say, per month. Part of that is because we've done a lot of Trelona bait station jobs, and how we do it, if a customer cancels, we go pull the stations. We don't do what some companies do where we leave the stations. Those stations are worth a lot of money, right? Like a case of stations now is like $350. Speaking of which, not that I'm affiliated with Viserys or anything, they're just my main supplier that I use. They are running promos on Termidor products and Trelona products right now through the month of April. So if you need any of those, definitely go look at Viserys. You do have to upload your licensing with them, but they have pretty good deals on that stuff. But my whole point is, as a case of Trelona is like $350 now, plus tax. So when a customer cancels that, we go pull them. And from customers canceling just throughout the years, I've got probably enough to do 5 or 6 new starts worth of Trelona stations. So I haven't really had to buy any Trelona stations in a while, just the refills. Which if you get a case of 100 refills, they're like $500. So when I have to buy big bulky stuff like that, the costs go up those months, right? Like I said, I think the most that I've spent in one month was like $2,000 on chemical. So hopefully that helps. Last topic of the day before we head out of here, because we have a showing, one last showing for this house that we're about to move out of. Um, I wanted to talk about accounting just real quick. Like, I'm not an accountant or anything like that. I had my meeting with my accountant just over a week ago. Not this past Friday, but the Friday before last. And I went in there based on what my QuickBooks was showing, this and that and the other, thinking, well, probably gonna have a little hefty tax bill this year. I got a feeling we're probably gonna have to pay at least 5,000, if not more, in. Now, I did have myself on payroll for a little bit throughout this year, and that actually is going to help because I paid in, I want to say close to like one, maybe $2,000 in taxes already going in. I put myself on payroll for probably 3 months throughout the year, and then I took myself off because of the amount that was already paid in, just based on, again, just rough math. But then once we got to the end of the year, I was like, maybe I should have kept myself on payroll a little bit longer. Because when you're an S corp, they want you to be on payroll because they don't want you. You know, you can get penalized for not having paid in enough tax throughout the year. Yada yada yada. But we purchased a truck this year. We had a huge transmission expense that was like almost $6,000. Um, for once, it actually makes sense to write off vehicle expenses instead of mileage, which is the first time since I've ever done any type of business venture that made sense. But overall, it sounds like I'll keep you guys updated on it, but it sounds like I'm not going to be paying anything in taxes. If anything, I may even be getting something back. Knock on wood, right? But yeah, no, that just goes to show again the importance of hiring an accountant. Like, my very first year in business, I didn't. I've used QuickBooks from day one for like tracking all my expenses, cash flow, this and that and the other. But the moment I started using an accountant, sure, accountants are expensive, especially once you file as an S corp. To put in perspective, we're paying our accountant $3,400 for the whole year. That's the whole year of expenses, quarterly filings, this and that and the other. Not just for simply filing our taxes, the S corp paperwork, like all this stuff. It's all included, $3,400. But look at how much they're probably saving us in taxes. Because, like I said, my rough math showed could be as little as 5, could be as much as 12. I was like $5,000 to $12,000. Now it's looking like possibly zero, possibly getting a refund for $3,400, right? So whenever you hear about accounting costs, don't think, holy shit, that's expensive. Do the math, right? How much, like, do the math on what you think before you even talk to an accountant. Look at your QuickBooks or whatever you're using for tracking expenses, net profit, this and that, and look and just do the math. Figure out your tax bracket. Figure out because a lot of you guys, I know when you're first getting started, you're not S corps. I guarantee when you're first, because it doesn't even make sense to be an S corp until you're doing about 50,000 in profit, not in sales, in profit per year, which is what we're doing. Like, my QuickBooks is showing 76,000, I think. I don't have it pulled up right now. Actually, I thought I did. That's Lumily. That's up there. Our QuickBooks was showing something like net profit of like 76,000 after all write-offs and stuff like that, where they are getting it down even further with writing off that vehicle purchase, this and that and the other. It sounds like it's going to come down under 50, just under $50,000, with the amount that we've already paid in, with me being the sole earner between me and my wife, child tax credits, this, that, like, all this stuff. Like we said, with everything that the accountant's going to do, it's going to get our tax bill down to, it sounds like virtually zero, maybe, just maybe even getting some money back. We'll see. We'll find out. Like I said, I'll keep you guys updated on my good old tax bill once we get that figured out here in, I guess, the coming week or two, possibly very soon, because tax day is coming up. But yeah, no, like I said, just do the math. Like, figure out what is your profit, because some things that no one really thinks about, which I'll draw on the whiteboard here for you guys really quick. I don't know if you'll be able to see this real good on let me do it this way. We'll go in here so both of you guys, those of you watching the behind the scenes stream, as well as, here we go. There we go. We got full screen now. Sorry about if the camera does some weird stuff occasionally. Occasionally, for some reason, it'll kind of do what it just did right there. Let's see. So you all should be able to see. You all should be able to see pretty good too. So when we're talking about taxes and tax brackets, so of course you have your normal tax bracket, right? I don't know what it is off the top of my head right now. I think it goes like 0, 12, 22, something of that nature based on what you make. Most of you guys, if you're not filing as an S Corp, chances are that's going to be around 12% for you. But guess what? When you're not an S Corp, you get what's called double taxed because you don't have just your income tax bracket, you have self-employment tax. And if I recall, someone can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. If I recall, though, self-employment tax is around 16.5%, something like that, plus or minus like a percent or so. So you're now actually paying 28.5% on your, oh, the microphone's in the way a little bit for those of you on here. So no, you got, this is, personal, right? Personal income tax. This is, we're just going to say SE, self-employment tax. So the beauty of an S Corp, whenever you get to that point where, again, because you have payroll costs, this and that and the other, increased software costs because of payroll, the math works out to where you want to be doing at least 45 to 50,000, depending on who you ask in terms of an accountant, before it makes sense. The beauty, though, of an S Corp, which all it is a tax filing status. It's not like actual quote unquote like corporation type of, I mean it is, but it's just tax filing. It's not, it doesn't mess with your LLC or anything like that. It's just a tax filing thing. The thing is, let me move this over here a little bit so our people in the behind the scenes stream can see it too. The other thing, the other thing with the S Corp is you eliminate that. So what happens is, let's say we'll just stick with the 50,000 example. Let's say your profit is $50,000, right? You don't, I mean, how do I explain this? Because you're paying your Medicare tax, was it Social Security, this and that, that's coming out of your payroll, hence why you need to be on payroll whenever you're an S Corp. You are taxed on not like just the profit. What you have to do is you pay yourself what's called a reasonable salary. So usually the rule of thumb, from what I understand, is, I mean, obviously one is going to depend on your industry. What does a CEO in your industry make? But at the same time, what is your actual profit? So like on $50,000 of profit, I would say that my salary is somewhere around $30,000, around 2/3, essentially. So what happens is there's a $20,000 difference here, right? 20K difference of profit. This 30,000 is going to be taxed, at your normal income tax bracket, your Social Security, Medicaid, was it Medicare, Medicaid, whatever the hell you want to call it. All those taxes, they're still going to come out of this 30,000. However, this 20,000 is a tax-free draw. And pretty much, I called it tax-free dividend. There's whatever term you want to use. This 20K is not taxed. So, like I said, once you get to certain levels of profit, this and that, get, my whole point here, get an accountant. Because, like, you're not going to do any of this on your own. The guy who paid 28.5% on $50,000, he's going to end up paying. Let's see here, pull up a calculator real quick. There we go. The guy is going to pay that double tax at 28.5%, we'll call it. 0.28 times 50K. He's going to end up paying about 14,000. What? 14,250 is the tax liability. Right? The other guy, 30,000. Up coming out to. Let me see if I can do it on my calculator. Because you have to calculate it a little bit different. That guy's liability in terms of federal tax is going to come out to somewhere in the neighborhood of around 3,600. Now, that's federal tax. Of course, like we said, you're still going to have your little bit of the Social Security, this and that, that's coming out. And that's the other thing. Because you're on payroll, all of this should already be set up to where, you're not having to go in there and like have a big giant tax bill at the end of the year, right? So, like I said, I'm not an accountant. That is why I hire an accountant. But as you can see, that math we were showing right there is gonna save you, how much was it? Like $10,000, just in terms of the whole S corp side of things. So, definitely, like I said, do the math to the best of your ability. If nothing else, go talk to an accountant. Usually you can go and have a consultation with them for free. If nothing else, just go talk to them. I can't stress it enough. Once you start doing sales, go talk to an accountant. Because last thing you want to do is get banged over the head to start the year with a 10, 20, 30, however many thousands of dollars of a tax bill and be going, oh shit, what now? Do you use QuickBooks, and what's the learning curve of keeping your own books? It's pretty simple, to be honest. As long as you stay on top of it, it's not bad at all. Like I pressed one button wrong once and messed up my books, and it took the accountant like a couple minutes to fix. Overall, it's not, the only thing that was a little confusing for me is the whole reconciliation process, but from what my accountant was explaining on that, even that is very, very simple. A lot of it's on YouTube too. Like whatever you have a question about when it comes to QuickBooks, usually there's a YouTube video for it, like anything nowadays, right? So yeah, no. If we don't have any more questions, we'll probably go ahead and start wrapping up. It's crazy. We've already been live for almost an hour and a half again today. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully, you guys did get some valuable information from the stream today. If you did, do me a favor, regardless if you're watching behind the scenes or if you're watching what we were sharing our screen today. Do me a favor, smash the thumbs up button if you guys did get anything from it today. If you're just tuning in, hopping in, feel free to rewind it all the way back. Like I said, we went over a lot today. Our main topics were routing, overall advertising, Google Ads update, importance of accounting, and then of course answering all of your all's questions throughout the way. If you know someone that you think could benefit from this stream, do me a favor and share it with somebody. I don't advertise this YouTube channel or anything like that, so the only way we grow is through you guys sharing the content and all that type of stuff, and people finding us on basic YouTube search and all that type of stuff. Lastly, if you didn't know, of course, we're now uploading a lot of the content to our podcasting platforms. So whatever podcasting platform you listen to, you should be able to find us on Real Life Entrepreneurship with Griffin Thomas. Link to the Spotify one specifically is in my link tree down below. If you have any questions or anything after this goes from a live stream to a video, definitely just shout it out in the comments down below.